I'm here to talk about Lightning and our partnership with Eternity and Nalanda. The mission of Lightning is to inspire learning as a way of life. When I was 17, I experienced the joy of learning for its own sake. It was a very different experience than being in high school history or English or biology, where the focus was comprehension, achievement, but very little meaning making. And I wanted to devote my life to making this experience of study a devotional act. So I went and I got a PhD. I went and got a rabbinical degree. And then I realized that there is not an institution that I resonate with where thinking, as I understand it, happens. Certainly not thinking or learning as a way of life. Universities are phenomenal. I have deep appreciation for these incredible scholar practitioners. I love it so much. However, it seems sad that 4 years of our life, at the best case scenario, if we're not, going to frat parties, we get to read and think, and then we go into the real world, and what is the habit that we have around learning? We have habits around going to the gym. We have habits around working out. I said that again. Therapy, maybe even meditation if we're lucky. But what about spending time with texts like the ones that changed Francis's life? How many people who devote their life to operational efficiency have the time to chant, let alone the desire? And that desire is there, but it's a latent pain because we don't know how to access it. We don't know how to structure it. We don't know how to guide it. So Lightning's vision is to awaken, cultivate, and guide a love of learning. And we're going to use this using AI and technology. Now, one of the things that really made me in shock was hearing Tom talk about 30 million texts at one point. It's a lot of people producing stuff. Ecclesiastes does say that there's no end to the writing of books, but felt like, was that a time more prolific than Instagram posting? So one way that I think we can bring Nalanda back to life is by actually inspiring and reviving the creation of text rather than just the absorption of it. One of my meta-reflections during this evening thus far is how juicy almost every moment has been, and I wish I could hit pause and talk to Francis about that one thing he said, and Tom, and Komodo, and Scott, but I have to sit here taking in this incredible live stream, this podcast, instead of being able to converse, and now I'm belaboring this even more. You're all sitting here hostage to my talk. One of the incredible things about an AI philosophical guide or companion is that he can embody Socratic method and bring back what I think Buddha and many phenomenal masters did, which is adapt the lesson to you specifically. Lectures are great, they have wonderful information, but the way we truly learn is by finding our own voice. So from my perspective, everything described tonight is amazing. We have to get these texts, make them accessible, but the work doesn't stop there. Once we do that, the question is, how do we connect those texts to the hearts and the lives of all these people out there that are wondering what they can do in their mornings other than doom scroll? How can we get them to pay attention to these texts and find resonance in it? And that's a complicated, also a process problem, one that I hope Lightning will be able to solve. So I would boil it down for the sake of simplicity to 3 problems. Libraries exist, but 3 things are missing. The motivation to visit them because people don't see the relevance, the guidance to navigate them because they lack the context to appreciate the treasure in their midst, and most importantly, and most difficult, to find one's own voice in that conversation and to feel that one is not merely a recipient of tradition, but a transmitter of that tradition. Right now, as AI accelerates, more and more people don't know what they think, what truly they believe, let alone how to articulate it. They feel disconnected. Maybe those of us in this room are in the blessed minority, but they feel disconnected from any kind of intellectual lineage or heritage. They've got confusion about big questions, and they might go on Duolingo to learn how to speak Mandarin, which is wonderful. I know Scott's got an incredible streak going on. But where's the Duolingo for learning how to think what Hume said, what Nagarjuna said, etc.? So in 2 weeks, Lightning will be launching an app. We're launching with a intellectual DNA assessment that asks you 30 questions that are actually path dependent to you. Based upon how you answer each question, you'll get a new follow-up. And once you answer those questions, your worldview will be plotted within a history of thought. And then you'll be given a course and access to Virgil, your companion, who will help you figure out what it is you want to learn and engage you in Socratic but empathetic methodology. And we've built this atop a digital database, a library of Alexandria 2.0, that contains 4,000 classics that have been curated, a single source of taste, and 10,000 pages that are like Wikipedia, but with a point of view, as opposed to just factual. We intend to do the same thing for Nalanda and for all great wisdom traditions, which is figure out ways to connect people's questions to ancient bodies of wisdom, and then pair them with a guide whose methodology will allow for dynamic personalization of the content that most speaks to them and their needs. I want to recognize Nico, who gave us our aesthetic and with a labor of love, built many of these pages by hand before we figured out how to hand it off to automation. And I want to acknowledge Rainer. Rainer, you want to stand up? Who helped us build this incredible library. And I want to thank Bobby, George, and Alex Jakubowski, who are not here, but who have helped bring this vision to life. And of course, I want to thank Francis, who before this was a company, before I knew that I wanted to work with him or any of this, already imagined Alexandria and spent his nights at 2 a.m. going pixel by pixel just for the love of it, as everybody thought that this was nuts. Well, the library doesn't solve a problem, but it's a necessary ingredient for solving the problem. Because if we don't have a library, we don't have context. And the more data we have, the more interconnections we can plot. But with AI, it's no longer just about surfing the web and taking in text, it's about co-creating with it. I'll end with a final point. What did His Holiness the Dalai Lama mean when he spoke about the spirit of Nalanda? I heard one word appear many times in the talks tonight: humility, intellectual humility. Trust and superintelligence, Bob Thurman said, because you can be humble to accept the truth wherever it comes. This is one of the joys of learning, is getting to realize that there's more than what you thought you knew. You can change your mind. And I hope that the way that we present these texts is not in the spirit of evangelizing to a particular point of view, but to embodying the virtues of learning that allow one to see things from this perspective and this perspective, and in so doing, empathize with humanity. So thank you.